Greetings pilots, Gunship here. Hope you're doing well. Here I am flying into a battle with a little Italian friend. So he's in the 104S and I'm in the 104j. I think he's just admiring the blue skin which I bought from the marketplace for about 1 Guardian coin. So not too bad, but I think it made a difference to have something nice to look at while I was flying around trying to spade and see how this plane actually performed. Now it took me quite a while to think, ooh, should I play the 104? I mean, I got the F4, I got the F5, and aren't they better planes? But there's so many of the 104 series, so I was looking around thinking, well, which one is the best one? So I went with the one that has the best missile. So the Japanese version has up to 4 AIM-9Ps. Now you don't start with that. In fact, you start with 2 9Bs, which is better than it was before, but at least all high tiers get some form of Sidewinder to start off with. Now the AIM-9Bs are not the best missiles, we can certainly be sure about that, but relatively quickly you can get the 9E. And if you look here at the research tree, my recommendation would be to get the rockets first, not that you particularly need them, and using the rockets, I did try for a little while. Are they any good at hitting the ground and so on? They're all right, but you only get 14 of them, so 7 shots, and it's not really worth the extra weight and turn penalties that they give. So kind of just research them because you have to in order to get the next set of guided missiles. This is 4 times AIM-9Bs. You then can go straight on to the 9Es, which does make a difference, but again, they're only 10G missiles, so while the range are a bit longer and while it's a little bit easier to lock, it's not that great. It's first really when you get the 9Ps you really feel that you are back into business at high tier, and in order to get that you need to research 2 modules at level 3. So I went for the ring repair, and then you can go for the 9Ps, and then you are sort of talking. So let's just quickly show you what it looks like when we use the AIM-9Bs, and then I will go through that into the 9Es and 9Ps. So here's the plane of stock with the 9Bs on board. As you can see, I'm going to try and lock onto the F5. That is probably highly optimistic, and just it turns a little bit, and yes, not going to get that kill. However, that AV-8 there is heading back to base. Not a care in the world, do manage to lock him, and bang, it does work. Another option is of course to find a plane that doesn't turn very well. Oh look, here's a 104G. So here we'll lock him, he's not looking too much, and we are close by, so yes, another kill. Most of the time you really have to be a bit of a class B predator and try and go for easy kills, like for example this poor ground attacker. That's the best you can do with the 9Bs. Straight line, otherwise no go. In fact, most of the time when you got the 9Bs, your best options is the good old head-on. So that's one option to get some points on the scoreboard, but it can be a bit risky, and you know how that can go. More often than not you end up a little bit burned yourself. What you should do, and what is my strong recommendation before you get the 9Ps, is to spend as much time as possible as you can killing ground targets. After all, you are trying to spade the plane, and killing ground targets is really where the money is. Now you can go for a few ground vehicles, but far better to go for light pillboxes. They give you about 330 RP at a time, and actually you do 3 of those in a match and that's 1000 RP, and that's more than if you shut down a plane. Okay, by all means take the juicy targets, like for example these railway carriages, and they're a bit of fun to do, but it's a good gun and you have 750 rounds of ammunition, so use it. Also the default build is very good. It's basically 2 AP rounds followed by 1 high explosive, and even if you do get the different belts, I have still used the default ammunition. It saves 750 lines per battle, and as good as anything else. I haven't had any problems with that whatsoever. When you get the AIM 9E, you can at least start to be a little bit competitive. Very similar to the 9Ps, but just be really aware that the tracking of them is not great. So you really need to be very much behind the target, just as you were with the 9Bs. But these missiles go a little bit further and they are much faster. It's just that the tracking is not so good. But at least you can start having a bit of fun, and that's also important. When you get to have researched AIM 9Ps, you think, yay, I am now Superman and I can do everything. Unfortunately, we are still playing mostly against 11.0, so you will get your ass handed to you if you're not careful. But at least now you've got missiles that are working. Thinking about what you should research next, this is what I did. I found I need the fuselage. I didn't do this particularly, it was just that was the one I started up with, and before I thought about the configuration, I was sort of halfway through, so it sort of made sense to finish it off. G-suit, very important. You do black out quite a bit, even with an expert crew, so that's what I went for next. The plane is fast from the start, but if you really want to outrun missiles and that sort of thing, well, then you need the engine mod, so engine compressor. Then I went for the cover before the airframe. And then the rest is just useful stuff. The radar, yeah, it's great, but you're so used to looking behind yourself that it's sort of, yeah, take it or leave it. And the offensive 20mm, well, it's useful that you can select different belts, but I said the default one is good enough, and the cannon is always good. I mean, didn't really notice a much difference when it got upgraded. I never had a problem where the cannons wouldn't fire, etc. Now it just leaves where we are with actually the plane itself. And here you can see the 9P missiles. It's a little bit easier, you can take a lot less care when you're shooting the missiles. I'm still in the old habit of trying to get as much behind the target as I possibly can before I shoot, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. What you do find is you need to keep your speed up at all times. So your speed really needs to be above 1100 kilometers an hour, even when you're turning. And that's how you most often can catch people, is that you are turning faster than they are and you get behind them. So even if your enemy think, oh, I'm doing 800 kilometers an hour, I am doing pretty good, you come in at 1300 and it gives you the edge. Because it's not a turn fighter, as you probably already have figured out by now. This plane excels as being fast, and that's pretty much what it does. It does not turn well. As soon as you have a target to start turning with you, it's time to bug out of there. Go out 2, 3, 4 kilometers, then start turning slowly, so you do a long arch of sort of speed of 1,000+ kilometers, and then you go back in and you rinse and repeat. Was it worthwhile playing the F-104? Yes, I really wanted to play one, and I think if you haven't done the 104, you definitely should. It has great engine sounds to it when it starts up and it shuts down as well. That is well worth it. And it's an iconic plane of the US era, and it exists in a lot of tech trees. I wouldn't research more than one plane. But having done the J version, I feel at least I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt, etc., etc. On a score of 0 to 10, I'll probably give it a 6. I feel that the battle rating is a little harsh. It's at 10.07 or 10.7, and that's because this one has the 9Ps. Still, it doesn't turn particularly well because it's not a turn fighter. So I would rather that maybe 10.3 would be more realistic, especially now that you got planes like the F-5Cs and etc. The guidance keeps putting in. Anyway, I hope you find this useful. I wish you the best of luck getting your own 104 up and running, and hope you have fun with it. It is not easy. If you want an easy plane to use, then the F5E is probably the one to go for if you're that far in the research tree. But otherwise, if you want a bit of a challenge, slightly different plane to play, it's worth the go. This is my stats as I have just spaded the plane. And as you can see from that, wind percent is at 49%. You can see 176 ground targets, so again I had to do that a fair amount. I did shoot down nearly 100 planes, so it's been decent. Yes, you could ask for more, but hopefully that will come now the plane is up to scratch and I can just enjoy it rather than think about the modules to get for it. That's all for today. Gunship over and out.